Hello and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe. I am Jess Juntunen, and we are live here at Oneness Talk Radio every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, and that's noon Eastern. So it's a beautiful, cozy lunch hour for those of you on Eastern Time or wherever you're watching around the world, because we truly do have a global audience here at Oneness Talk Radio. So there's several ways you could be tuning in. You might be catching me on Oneness Talk Radio at YouTube. You might be catching me at onenesstalkradio.com, where you can see also on video or listen to the audio stream. Or you may be over at selfascensionstudios.com and catching this in the archives, and those are the places you can go to find this. And also Facebook, hello Facebook, onenesstalkradio.com. So a lot of ways to tune in and listen and be together live. Soul Fusion Cafe is my hour where it's always about radiant wellness and soul forward living, whether it's myself or I'm bringing in a guest. The focus is on how do we live a soul forward life? How do we live our life saying yes to the truth of who we are and navigating this worldly experience that we are having, this beautiful experience, whether you want to call that density, the game board, an illusion, earth, it can go by so many different names, and this gives us the opportunity to interact. So I'm always looking at things from this perspective of I'm a medical intuitive. I'm also a self-ascension intuitive counselor. So these mean I'm really looking at, the underpinnings of what could be holding us back from living that soul forward life. What are those snags that could be happening, and perspective about them, whether it's a physical issue or challenge, dis-ease, or a spiritual matter, being able to coach, mentor, guide clients, those of you in my community, those of you in the TOSA community with Sri and Kira, many of us here hanging out today, also love hanging out with their work, and everybody at Oneness Talk Radio, the beautiful, amazing community that is there. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do subscribe to the Oneness Talk Radio. Just look it up in YouTube, do a search. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get, if you choose, notifications when there are shows airing live, when new podcasts get put up. So you can always go there and check out an amazing array of support that is also bringing different perspectives to wellness, positivity, creativity, music, how we are ascending through these times. And, a few things are coming forward for today's show as I tapped into, what's this really about? I'm always also looking at the energies of what's playing out right now. But whenever you watch this, I trust and know that you will receive exactly what you need, even if you aren't catching it the week that this show airs, or the month, or the year. Right now, as we are airing live, we are in this October buildup, Mercury retrograde coming in, the new moon, which is a illuminated new moon, and it's also a peak up level day. And if you're like, what are you talking about? You can check this out at shriandkira.com and get familiar. You can get the Ascension up level calendar there. But there are these energetic dates. This whole year is up level, right? We've been up leveling all year long, 2020, my goodness. And here we are in October. How did that even happen? I don't know. Time is an illusion, but our concept of what we knew as time here has changed dramatically. So while it feels like it goes by in the blink of an eye, likely you also are going, oh, but so much has happened, right? If you try to think back to yesterday or last week, you're probably going, oh my gosh, that just seems like forever ago. If you can look all the way back to the beginning of 2020. But that is an important thing to be reflecting on right now, is looking back at, when we began 2020, when we were at the precipice from 2019 to 2020, what were the dreams that you were having for yourself? We always go through a kind of reflective process and just say, hey, 2020 is going to be my year, or I'm going to, finally live out some of these dreams. And a lot happened, right? in 2020 that could have derailed that process. Unless you have been tracking and really doing your work to stay conscious and lift through this, you're having an expansive moment. It is amazing. The manifestations that are happening so rapidly in my own life and the the general read that I get on others that have been walking their walk, having that tenacity to keep going no matter what, and that we always have to bring that tenacity forward at different stages on our journey, more so than others. And it's that moment of tenacity. But you said yes to a greater experience of yourself living on this planet, then you are experiencing a lot of manifestation. If you are in alignment with more of that soul self, you're having so much. And conversely, if somebody is, if you feel like you're more compressed, or you've been feeling depressed or stuck, or those feelings, you are manifesting also. Just pay attention and be discerning what it is you're manifesting, right? We really do have the ability to heal ourselves, walk through anything, shift, up level, and each are having their awakening experiences in the way that is congruent for them. Who are we to judge our own experience or anybody else's? And do not compare your experience to anybody else's. It is yours, it is sacred. So yeah, we're diving into a little bit of this, what can support us energetically in this moment, in this beautiful week, and in the middle of October, building to this new moon up level moment. There's a lot of energy coming in, a lot being illuminated. So what are you doing to support yourself? What are you doing to support your dreams? What are you doing to nourish all aspects of yourself? What are you doing to say yes to your heart? That's the gateway. That is the root center of our ascended state of being. It is the opening of a 12-pointed chakra system that, once open, it reveals this whole divine galactic blueprint that we are, and our multidimensional beingness, and solutions are birthed from this level of consciousness that we lift into. The crown opens into this ascended, exploded crown experience, and we are able to now not be compressed, but be open. And manifestation and miracles and magic are our birthright. Who are you not to do it? And I keep coming back to this energy, diving into these messages from the archangelic realm, these ensouled messages from realms beyond that were ensouled through Master Lady Kira Ra and Sri Ram Ka. There is the Galactic Encyclopedia. And a lot of us are getting together on Monday nights for Monday Magic and going through these lessons that are profound. And if you're interested at all, check it out at shriandkira.com, or shoot me a line and I'll tell you more about it. But it's fantastic, and it's just a donation that goes to humanitarian aid projects, feeding indigenous people and feeding the people in Ecuador that can't afford food right now with the crisis going on. So it's like also just this beautiful opportunity. It's just a really gift of the heart. And these lessons are so profound. And in the first lesson, I'm going through it, and you can spend a long time with these lessons. They're about, 10 or more pages of a PDF that you can read through. And when they were delivered, you could listen to these recordings at one point, or if you were lucky enough to be there. But these messages are coated with so much wisdom and knowledge. And this energy really came forward to me, that really feels like so much this moment. It's so much about this moment right now. And it's this essence of, you cannot move forward if you are not anchored in the truth of your being. You cannot move forward if you are not anchored in the truth of your being. And that's kind of a distillation that I came to through just a lot, integrating those messages, integrating a lot of these energies, the truth of our being. is being asked of us to step forward, and these messages couldn't have come in at a more perfect time because they interlay with the energies happening, the truth of your being. That is the you that without a doubt is the oneness of your soul. It's the one that whispers the inspiration in your ear. It's the one that says you can. It's the one that dreams and desires beautiful things for your life and those that you love in our world in your unique way. It's your unique soul song, and you're uncovering it. There's a grand homecoming energy right now. There is a nourishing energy available, but we have to say yes to receiving it. It's like if we're not aligned and tuning into that channel, it's like think of an old radio dial. If you've used an old radio, you're dialing and trying to find a station, and it's if you're not on the right frequency, right, you're not hearing the music. So what frequency are you dialed into right now? Is it your soul's voice, wisdom and love, or is it the ego's experience and expression that you're tied into? Or is it the experience going on out in the world, the illusion, the density, the earth experience that so many are having? And it is so, so important. I know a lot of us, say this to others, like, really, you should detach from the news and blah, blah, blah. Like, really, you should detach from the news. And more so than ever, and maybe it's a break from other media that you use and consume, and you're very mindful, and maybe it's keeping things to a minimum, your electronics, or, just how do you detach yourself? Because it's very hypnotic. It's very there. You can see a post somebody made on social media, an email, it could come in any different way, but it's like very Velcro. And it's so sticky that it's easy to get stuck there and not recognize it at first. The mastery is in the recognition and the lift through it. There's then you just drop the judgment and say, oh, I'm in the sticky mud, I'm going to lift. And it all serves its purpose. But where do you want your focus to be? Where do you want your energy to be sourced from? Your soul, or you want to source energy from out there? Because if you're feeling tired, depressed, anxious, fearful, angry, worn out, these are all symptoms of trying to buffer so much information right now. Oh my goodness. We are doing so much right now. It's, have mercy on yourself. If you have to be at work, wherever you work, if you go to work, you work from home, how does that affect or impact you? And being a parent, and so many of us that are parents have to also now be in the role of helping school our children, and there's so many plates we might be spinning, and we get worn down. So in the mastery of who we are, we can really say, okay, how much of my energy do I give to any of this? Am I going through and just getting bounced around and taking on energies? Am I really empathic and just sucking up all of the feelings that everybody's having around and being miserable and low, or am I choosing to breathe? Am I choosing to lift? Am I choosing the nourishing activities that nurture my spirit and soul? If that's going for walks in the woods, a long bath with salts and oils, if it's having time with an altar or a sacred space in your home, maybe it's about cleaning and preparing your home. Maybe it's about planning a project or a dream. Maybe it's writing. What for you helps you touch into? What gives you that joy spark? There's a lot of, what works for one person is going to be different for someone else. So look within, really spend some time, maybe get out the old journal or just a piece of paper and a pen and just start writing, what really brings me joy and nourishment right now? What really fills my cup, right? And how do I choose more of that? And how do I choose that even in the midst of whatever is going on? The more we give it to ourselves, the more it sustains us throughout our days and our experiences. So, part of this episode today is talking about, yeah, how do we do that? Just the importance, really. It's not the how, how, but the importance of coming here to the heart center, the importance of lifting into this center of our being, and how to really disconnect, detach ourselves from what causes us the most pain. And depression is one energy that I wanted to address today, but there are so many, but they're also interconnected. If it's not peace, love, or joy, it has some basis in density, it has basis in ego, it has basis in trauma, fear, it's all interconnected. But depression really is, this forgetting of our light. It's when we have forgotten the light and the truth that we are. And there's, so many different perspectives that could be brought in on this. And the place where I focus is self-ascension, and the ways that we can support ourselves. And of course, there's so many, this is a multi-layered approach. There's so many beautiful things that we can do to support our body's vitality. That's what we must do, is support our body's vitality. So if that means you need to go and get extra support, maybe it's nutritional support, maybe it's therapy, maybe it's a spiritual counselor, maybe it's what is it for you? And really just saying, am I willing to do this for myself? Because this energy of depression is kind of part of a group of energies, really, that are trying to keep us down. If you're a sensitive being, if you're a highly sensitive person, if you're an empath, if you're just a connected person, you are definitely in the line of fire sometimes. There are energies that would love for you to shut down your gifts. And I know so many beings that identify as an empath, that are just riddled with guilt, shame. They're carrying the weight of the world. They're carrying the sins of the world. They're carrying the pain of the world. And so many of us go through this phase. Absolutely. Absolutely. So many of us, we have to. It's part of our evolution that we would go through this. And but it's also part of victim consciousness. It's so connected to that. There's that triangle of victim consciousness where you have the victim, rescuer, abuser, and it's when we transcend that, then we are the teacher, we're the minister, we are the leader, the healer, we become the one that heals all those aspects. So we all have to walk through and do this dance. But victim consciousness is what keeps us stuck, so sometimes we can tell ourselves a lot of creative things, and our thoughts are just thoughts, but they carry power if we have had a pattern or orientation towards a certain belief system. They're usually coming from a belief system that I'm not good enough, I don't belong, who am I to think I could do this, you're bad, So depression is always going to be connected to some aspect of belief systems that I don't deserve. Usually it's worthiness and I don't deserve. And I think this is a core wounding that human beings are carrying. So to navigate this world as a human, yeah, there's a lot that has come with this, because we forgot we were part of source for a long time. Some of us wake up during this lifetime and say, I'm here for this. I'm an awakened being. But it's a big journey. We have to go through a lot usually in order to recognize and lift up. And as I'm talking about this, I wish you could see out the windows here, because it's just this most beautiful sun ray just came beaming in between all of the clouds, and the trees are all golden, right, as we're talking about this connection to ourself and our light. And depression, it's a forgetting of that light. It's shut down. If you think of the heart center, ooh, it's shut down. There could be a wounding that happened, trauma, past life, this life. The point is to not get really fascinated with, probably a whole bunch of the ways that it got there, that the wounding to your heart happened. Might be mother wound, it might be healer wound, it relationship, call it, being dinged up by the separation experience of being a human. And we're all carrying that. And, we developed so many beliefs around it must be our fault somehow because we're carrying this, that it must be us. There must be something wrong with us. Usually comes from the experience of the inner child and the wounded ego, and it could only make sense of the world as, you know, my value and who I am is defined on what others think about me. It's complex, but we aren't a victim to our past. We can make the decision. It's, just one choice at a time, and to really say, I'm going to remember, who I really am. Because when we focus on uh, the light, when we focus on that which expands, it automatically creates the situations and scenarios for the healing that we need to come in. Definitely, we sometimes need um, a lot of support and modalities that can support our body and our mind and our spiritual self as we heal through, what is so much that some of us carry. And there's a grand healing of the lineage holders happening right now on this planet. The lineage holders, if you felt like you're the odd one in your family, if you have felt very much the pain of humanity and of your ancestry, if you very much felt like you have always wanted to, heal or help in some way others or your life, like you probably are a lineage holder. And there's, other aspects of that that could denote you are one. But if you just feel a truth to this, you came to heal on behalf of very, very many. So again, just remembering the bigger context can be really helpful. But it also could overwhelm. But you are a divine being in form. Who are you to not be able to heal it all? And we're really getting beyond the point of saying, like some of us, it's like you've healed enough. You'll always continually heal. But the focus is on the expansion now. The focus is on, where am I going? Who do I get to be? You've done the work. We can get stuck in a pattern of doing the work, So things like depression is so connected to ego, to mind, contraction, forgetting who we are. And it's always been something that was a dance for me. It was always what was my own part, my own personal journey. The way forgetting who I am manifested was through a lot of depression and things in my life. And if I'm not being connected to spirit, that's the energy that I might start to feel again. The pattern might reignite itself, So it's always been near and dear to my heart, supporting others through that journey. And it's also very indicative for me if I have not been taking care of myself and loving myself. If that's coming up, there's another aspect of myself to love even more. There's another aspect, so if that's true for you, it's like, how can you have complete mercy for yourself? and forgiveness. All goes back around to that, like, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy to receive. So I won't, right? If that's the belief, the universe, we're that powerful because we're creating our experience. The universe says, okay, you're powerless. You can't do it. Everything's terrible. Collapse. Yes, everything's collapsing around me. And I'm not suggesting it's just easy wave a magic wand. It's work. It's work to walk our path of healing. It is harrowing. You are the hero. You are the heroine. You are the champion of your experience. And as you champion yourself, really ultimately it's about becoming the champion yourself of you, that you are. And I really wanted to bring forward the 6 steps for navigating the spiral of multidimensional presence. This is a message that came through the divine directors, through Master Lady Kira Ra. Again, you could find this at shriankira.com. And these 6 steps of navigating multidimensional presence, that's the key, is to become and remember, not to become, you already are, to remember the multidimensional being you are, to like lift out of the 3D, to lift out of the experience that would keep you stuck. And then the possibilities start to open, and then more support can come in. Then the expansion can begin. There is so much energy on the planet right now that's trying every which way it could to stop you from growing. So depression, anxiety, stress, fear, anger, those are all ways. Judgment, spiritual activism, they're right, we're wrong. Being super engaged in the density is going to screw you up. It just is. And if that's the experience you choose to have, then do it and have fun, as Archangel Zadkiel would say. Do it and have a good time. There is no wrong. You're going to receive what you need to receive. But when you're more consciously discerning of the experience, you might be able to say, like, do I need that experience of density right now? Is that serving me? And in the mastery position, we can have a lot more, let's say, flow and fun and manifestation of the expansion. And things get to become a great time, because there are so many people having a great time now, despite everything that is going on. And it's not the popular opinion. But you deserve it. You deserve to feel good and to be manifesting like crazy miracles. And when you do that, you are showing others that they have the power to do that as well. That's how we change the planet. If you're like, how do we change it? What do we do? It's so terrible. Then we're in the pain of the pain. And that's another Archangel Zadkiel quote, the pain of the pain. That will keep you stuck like Velcro in depression energy. Everything's so painful. I feel the pain that they're feeling. It's not to say I am totally, recovering codependent, empathic, sensitive, you name it. I would go in and carry the world for anybody else. I would go and do battle for anyone else. I would take on the pain if they didn't feel it. Very much you've, went to the martyrdom of the victim side of things in that whole quest. But it's like, really, right now, it's like that time. Are you going to ascend and be in that pain of the pain? Or are you going to lift above into your multidimensional presence and remember the truth of your being? You are a multidimensional being in form. There is a 5th dimension. There is a 7th. There is a 9th. There's more. There are crystalline realms of energy here to support you. There's this beautiful cosmic cradle here to support you. There is the universe behind your back. There are so many beings supporting you, and you are supported as you say yes to you. That's the transcendence, and that's the path of the master when they say, I haven't had enough of the pain of the pain. And that's just what it is. Whenever we've had enough, I've had enough of being in this pain, right? And everybody's enough moment is exactly when it needs to be. But usually there's going to be a point where you say, I've had enough of this pattern. I've done this long enough. I'm ready. And we realize that if we deserve love and abundance and manifestation and miracles, then so does everybody else. And who are we to not shine? Who are we to not give those gifts and miracles to the world so that others may remember that they can do the same? And is that not how we change the world? We change that from cultivating the inner experience and bringing it to the outer world. We do that by connecting to our multidimensional presence, to our oneness, to our source, whatever you want to call it, and staying there as much as possible. And that supports the world. And that supports your upliftment, and it supports your expansion, and it releases the stickiness of depression and trauma, and invites in healing. And consciousness is healing. Lifting your consciousness and your vibration is automatically going to be healing. And have mercy and forgiveness wherever you're at, where you're at. It might be little steps that lead to the big kahuna, right? Just where are you in this moment now? The truth of your being right now. Come back to now. A lot of those other energies of depression and such too, it's pulling us out of this now moment, bringing us into our pain body, bringing us into the remembrance of, what doesn't feel good and what feels bad and what hurts. What's the truth of our being saying right now? Even if a lot of parts of us are yelling in pain, what is the truth of our being guiding us to? Because the support's there. We have to say yes. We have to step out of our victim consciousness and be willing to say yes to ourselves. And it's an exciting time. That's your work. How do you say yes to yourself, your higher self? So these 6 steps for navigating the spiral of multidimensional presence are so amazingly telling. And this is a whole article too. Like, you can find this at treatandcure.com. And this came out back in March, when all of this was about to start with COVID and everything else. This seems like forever ago. But yeah, it's of course timeless and timely. And it's a very, very, very amazing article. I invite you to read it. And I'm happy to send you a PDF too, if you want to email me, Jess at selfascensionstudios.com, and request that. So there's a lot of beautiful sharing in there that I would invite you to read. But these 6 steps, in order to ascend into that 5th dimension, into anchoring the 5th dimensional compassion and love that we are, we must recognize when we are getting pulled down. And this is also how we would free ourselves from depressive energy or anxious energy, fear or anger, and all of those traumas that might want to pull us back into the experience of density as it is. So the first step, they're saying, divine directors, they're saying, first, notice what is really standing out to your consciousness. What has your focus and of your attention, instead of what is trying to control it by being the loudest, boldest, etc. So what's standing out to your consciousness? Not necessarily like what's trying to be in control, but what is in your consciousness? What are you noticing? Really take a moment and notice whatever makes you honestly pause, whether it is to actually read an article or go beyond a headline. That is what is standing out to your consciousness and inviting you to a greater awareness. What's standing out to your consciousness? So you might do this many times a day. When you notice something has your consciousness and it's in your awareness, you're like, oh, okay, here's that spiral. So the second step is to notice where the awareness takes you. So you're aware right? First step always of shifting or expanding consciousness is to become aware. Can't shift what we're not aware of, and the awareness itself already begins the lifting process. So notice where this awareness takes you. Notice, pay attention, go deeper into the expansion of what is this, what your consciousness wants you to see. Why is this what your consciousness wants you to see? Why? Why is your consciousness grabbing this? Pay attention. Just discern. No judgment, just discern. This is the beginning of the multidimensional opening to your ascended consciousness. Then notice the story that you are hearing, being shown, or simply knowing about that which your consciousness wants you to see. Really dive into the story and allow it to fully take you deep into that which may not be fully present to your awareness. So in step 3, like, what's the story? So if there's an example of, seeing people that are being adversely affected right now by the situation in my country, seeing people that are being hurt and not being able to receive the care they need. Maybe that's what's really got my consciousness. I'm aware of that. And it's something that it's tough, right? We're not saying we don't care about them. That's absolutely true. We care and love everybody. So it's like that's got my attention. Say that's the example. And in step 2, noticing where the awareness takes you, going deeper into why does the consciousness want me to see this? Why is it being shown to me? Why is my consciousness paying attention? And that begins that opening of the ascended awareness and ascended consciousness. And then 3, then notice the story that you're hearing being shown or simply knowing about that which your consciousness wants you to see. Why is this in front of my consciousness? What is my consciousness telling me? Oh, this is so terrible. Oh, it's bad. Oh, there are people doing this stuff to other people, right? So what are all the stories that come along with this? Step 4, oh, and they say this is the moment of the master arising. For as you go deep into the story, the energy of the witness is silently waiting for you to activate it. And this brings you to the next step, right? So this brings us into mastery by noticing the story, diving in, seeing it fully. Go deep. What might be below your awareness, So I might get pulled in really deep in my example and just like, wow, like here's all the stories about, what is going on and what I think about it, or where does my consciousness want to go and what is present. And as you engage the story now, step 4, notice if you can stop the thread of the spiral that has been created from this engagement, right? So as that story goes, the spiral, there's this constant spiral. Are we ascending or are we descending or are we spinning laterally and stuck, So this is happening all the time. So we can be up, we can be pulled down, and it can feel crazy, right? And that can really wreak havoc on all parts of our body and experience. So can you stop the thread? So if I'm following that whole story of like people are doing things to other people and it's so hard and people are hurting and in pain, and blah 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 blah, maybe there's victim consciousness at play in there, and blame or judgment, things like that I'm noticing are attached to it all, and then stopping it in the spiral. Can you stop it there? And now you could apply this to anything. This could be something in your personal experience that has your attention. It could be the depression and what stories you tell yourself about it. It could be about another problematic emotion or trigger or pain in your body or something that you could be that could be having your awareness and attention and spiraling you down. So can you stop the thread of the spiral, step 4, that's been created by this engagement? Notice as the witness. This means we are lifting into our heart. Take a breath, connect with your heart, and just lift into this higher picture perspective of some compassion and love, and see the situation as the witness. Not the human in form being in the driver's seat. This is the witness of your soul gazing at this whole experience that is playing out. And notice as the witness, as it reveals that which is trying to call you into a downward spiral experience with the potentiality. Through this awareness, invite your brain to relax as you become the witnesser and discover the conspiracy is actually the delusion of the illusion. Take that in. Through this awareness, invite your brain to relax as you become the witnesser and discover that conspiracy is actually the delusion of the illusion. And there's always a thread of co-created reality within each delusion. This is because delusion is an aspect of the creation that is within the all. It is the active presence of the witnessing of the energy of the downward spiral without being in its tractor beam. So, once you stopped the spiral, and you've been like aware and watching all of this, you're not in the spiral just being pulled down, right? You're the witnesser. So you're not in the tractor beam. You're not being sucked in. That calls forward the stop of the engagement of the story. This is the moment of divine connection that begins another cycle through the spiral of expanded consciousness, a moment of self-discovery, the aha moment of greater awareness through the recognition that you're already engaged, the seventh dimension, witnessing energy. So we've already now lifted from the fifth to the seventh dimension where there's no judgment, it's clarity, complete clarity. And through this, you can take even a wider perspective of the story that's trying to get your attention. This allows the brain, the density brain, to rest and your ascended presence to lead. The blessing of the moment at hand is that as you practice this, you're already ascending. So just really allow the self-discovery, allow the wider perspective, see the whole story that was created there and everything that's going on. And 5, after the completion of the awareness energy of the multidimensional presence, engage the world of density once more. Notice again that which is honestly standing out to your consciousness. And that which is trying to control by being the loudest, etc. Bringing your ascended presence to the simultaneous calling to your consciousness, pay attention and notice what is your experience. This is the journey of awakening for those who have forgotten. The mirror of multidimensional ascended presence was set to open, and this is the full illumination before all. There's a choice to determine what you see. Being clearly gifted right now. Respond to the spiral of energy of creation, right? Because we're creating from this spiral. Are we creating from our ascended, expanded consciousness? And it brings our mastery forward ever more when we can grab ourselves. If the spiral has ignited and something has our consciousness that's not the peace, love, and joy of our ascended presence, it's not the true essence of us, we can follow where that's going, what stories attached to it. We can just be very aware and watch and discern, and then we can lift into compassion, lift into a wider picture, lift up through your heart. Breathe, see yourself, see the story, and then lift again and see it from an even larger perspective. And then you're in the 7th. So as you complete the 5 steps in number 6, they're saying, notice what you're noticing. Carefully invite yourself to fully notice without reservation, then begin the cycle again. Your eternal being of divine experiencing the gift of co-creation. This brings forward such mastery. So those 6 steps are all about catching ourselves in that spiral, being aware, cultivating our multidimensional presence, and birthing forward. So rich, and I really do. And if this resonates with you at all, I highly recommend reading this whole article and process, because as you can see, it's so rich, and it's hard to discuss fully right now. But if you're experiencing ascension, acceleration, energy symptoms, if your ascension symptoms are kicking in, that 6 steps, noticing that you are in that spiral of co-creative energy, and what's lifting you, what's the pop, what's the drop, where are you at? And ascension symptoms, depression can be one of those. It's like you're ascending and you're feeling so much, you're moving through something. Other things like Headaches, are you having headaches or head pressure, waves of pressure, third eye pressure? It could be all over the head. Visions, having sight changes and shifts, having your sleep interrupted, feeling like you're going crazy or you're losing your mind, revisiting habits and patterns that you were confident were gone. Don't have any judgment around this. This means you're ascending. So of course these things have to come forward. So in your mastery, you can gaze at them and lift through them. Emotional tenderness and mood swings, maybe mania, extreme energy. Be gentle with yourself. There could be a strong urge to embrace unity consciousness, being totally overwhelmed with love for humanity and the planet and this existence. Heightened sensitivity to smells, sounds, tastes, losing track of time, uh, maybe missing appointments or exits, being late for meetings. What day is this? How many people have that going on? Dropping, bumping into things, hearing high-pitched tones or pressure in the ears, having a spiritual death or brief suicidal thoughts. These are third dimensional concepts trying to unlock an understanding of what you're experiencing. Try to remember that. They're just trying to unlock this experience, the understanding of what's happening, and to not go into fear. A heightened sense of not being on the planet, sort of like a detachment, might feel like a hangover at times. Free flowing energy, and sometimes it could be interpreted as anxiety. You might actually have a lot of free flowing energy and you might think, oh, I'm anxious, but if you were to just breathe and follow the energy, you'd be like, this is a very flowing energy, depending what energy of the spiral you're in. Are you expanding or descending? Kriyas, jolts of energy that can physically move through your body, lack of focus or attention. Keep lists, recognize you're busy in multi dimensions. Just be kind to yourself, try to make it easier. Maybe there's more discomfort in certain environments or situations, buildings, around certain people, an urge to make everything spacious, decluttering, moving furniture. Other ascension symptoms, new colors might come in, change in your priorities and your career or relationships, feeling of moving very, very fast. You're doing so much more than ever before. One day, of course, in October right now, one day is like 6 days, all October long. So there's 6 days of energy happening in one. It can feel very expansive and spacious. But if you're in the tractor beam and you're in the density flow, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable trying to navigate that. We're really going forward with things that we've been anchoring. And just notice your body is calling for greater presence. Our body wants more health. We're adapting to higher frequencies. There is a new flow. There is an ascended presence. There is a mastery happening while we're sleeping. We are moving through dimensions. We are. And notice, maybe there's a reunification with soul family that's coming in, or a connection to those who are authentic, feeling our spiritual discernment grow. Mastering doubt energy, noticing where doubt would try to stop you, and transcending through the doubt, opening and adapting to multidimensional space, seeing beyond density, seeing that this all is just energy patterns, and being able to almost see between the patterns, feeling more light, feeling sometimes that there's maybe dimensional dementia as you're trying to adjust. So really remember to don't panic, don't overreact. Really give yourself the gift of nourishing yourself, knowing this will pass when you're feeling a really intense wave. Like a lot of things, as we've been talking about, some of the energy of depression and anxiety and fears and things like that. Just really try to breathe through. If you're just going through waves of it and it's not always your all, you feel like you have lifted through a lot of this and it's coming back into your life, really just give yourself a lot of grace, breathing deeply, hand to heart, centering yourself, trusting your process, deep breaths, choose joy. Choose joy. So if you're going through any intense experiences of ascension here, and feeling the feels, choose joy. Give yourself something that you really feel joy about. Drink fresh, pure water, and then drink even more for real. Lighten your nourishment. You might notice your diet is changing. A vegetarian, plant-based diet will definitely help you lighten, even if you can just start out by doing it a few days a week and notice how you are feeling. Use the mantra of self-ascension. I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me often. And give yourself gentle movement, walking, yoga, stretching, swimming, and really let yourself be present and love the connection of your body moving, the energies. There's so many other things that have been coming forward to the Ascension energy list, just keep growing because there's just a lot we're adapting to. So mercy, forgive yourself. Through the forgiveness and through the mercy, we can clear ourselves to better receive the gifts that are coming forward. We can lift and ascend and expand through anything. It makes everything easier to connect. Gratitude then is the lifting device. And we say, thank you for these gifts. Thank you for these experiences. Thank you for all the density has offered me. Thank you for the experience of whatever energy I'm experiencing right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts that I could receive through any challenge I might be experiencing. Even if I can't see the gifts now, there are gifts. When we can recognize that, we immediately lift. So remember, you've got these 6 steps to help you navigate the spiral. You have your multidimensional presence. Look for your support. I'm happy to support you. Check out my work at selfascensionstudios.com and see what's going on there. So many opportunities for support. And every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern, I'm here live at Oneness Talk Radio on YouTube and Facebook and onenesstalkradio.com. And feel free to send me suggestions or questions at jess@selfascensionstudios.com. And be sure to check out wwaglobal.com, Women Wellness Awakenings, a global movement that I am a part of and so excited to be birthing on this planet. Have a beautiful day and enjoy. Be in the joy, be in the flow. Find one thing that really brings you some joy and do it. Are you willing to bring yourself the joy in order to heal yourself and heal the world evermore? I am Jess Juntunen. It has been an honor and pleasure to be with you. Until next time, namaste and many, many blessings.